Hey you all, I'm pregnant, did you know? Hey, I'm Melissa with The Simple Life Wife, and I make videos on brain retraining and the goodness of God, and this video is about pregnancy and brain retraining, because obviously that's where I am. So I've been trying to get my thoughts together around this. I don't feel like I have huge insights. Sorry about the messy house. This is actually much better than it usually is, if we're being quite honest. So I have been brain retraining for over a year and a few months, and most of that time I've been pregnant. Got pregnant as soon as I started, had a miscarriage a few months later, and then a few months later got pregnant again, and here we are about to give birth. So that's the pregnancy journey for brain retraining for me. And I wanted to make this video because a fellow brain retrainer in one of my, what do we call this? A support group for brain retrainers. We've been talking about it. It's kind of come up. And so I thought this is a pretty good subject, actually. I think there's a certain niche within the brain retraining community that will be interested in this subject. So we might as well talk about it and at least bring it up, even though I don't feel like I'm the end all on it. And if you're interested in the support group, it's with Bria Katrin, and I always have her linked below. It's the Abundant Life group, and I love her support groups. They last for 3 months at a time. This is my second time doing one of them. Okay, so does brain retraining make a difference in pregnancy? I think the initial thought there is, will you have a better pregnancy? Like, should you have symptoms at all? Like, are pregnancy symptoms considered a chronic illness type symptom that doesn't have to be there? And so that's kind of one of the questions that was kind of going around, and we talked through a little bit. And this is my 4th baby, and then my sixth pregnancy, so two miscarriages. But this will be my 4th baby. I'm older now. I'm about to be 38. Maybe the baby will be born on my birthday. We shall see. So that makes a difference too on things as you get older with pregnancy. And what other factors? Oh, my daughter just turned 7. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. So I have lots going on in the house now that wasn't necessarily going on. So as far as my blips and symptoms and all that, I've had that stuff for 20 plus years, but as far as my perfect storm, that came after my last one, and he's 3.5. That came after him. So this is a different pregnancy in that way, that I'm brain retraining with different things. So it's all different, and everybody's situation is just different. We're all going through different things. God made us different people. And so is this pregnancy easier? No, it's not. I don't know. And yes. So I need to put that in there. If we're talking about physical, did I not get morning sickness this time? Do I have all the energy in the world? Am I emotionally so stable? Are those things that brain retraining fixes? In my experience, or is there no fatigue or tiredness with pregnancy? It's all there. But I think that's part of how God made our bodies. We are doing amazing work here, ladies. If you're a lady watching this, there might be a man watching for his wife. There's a lot going on inside of our bodies. It's amazing what God has going on, growing a baby inside of your body. And I think He has set up mechanisms for us to protect that life that's growing in there. And sometimes maybe it's morning sickness to tell you, don't eat that, or whatever it is. You get aversions to foods, and everyone has different things. Or the fatigue because you really do need to slow down. These are all my thoughts only. Other people have different thoughts, I'm sure. What else? The emotions. I think God is heightening that mothering instinct in us, which is beautiful and needed to protect your little baby. So don't despise these things and all the other things that come up, you know. I think it's part of the process of how God made our bodies to house another little body that's growing. And just the nature of taking care of other children adds to the fatigue. To me, that's pretty normal. And it's not a chronic illness to be gotten rid of. You gotta rest, and so your body has to tell you when is an appropriate time to rest. So there's a certain amount of just trusting your mothering instincts and your bodily instincts, that they are actually, like, our body is for us. God made it for us. So there's a certain amount of trust you can have in it. So apart from brain retraining, I just think it's a good thing. So let's add on to that now, though. Some women have really heightened, crazy, is that the right word? Things going on, like extreme morning sickness, extreme, lots of things that can happen, which I'm not going to go into them all here during pregnancy. Like, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but just more than normal of something, That's where I think brain retraining probably could come in to teach your body to handle these. I don't know, because I'm not actually one of those cases that has the high risk pregnancy stuff going on, but I question if that stuff can be helped with brain retraining. That's my question and my thought. I'm not saying it can, but it seems like those would fall into more of the chronic illness type things outside of the normal pregnancy that probably could be helped by lowering or calming your nervous system. I think that's a good thought. It's open for debate here. Okay, so where I think brain retraining does help the everyday pregnant woman, and I can see it, is in the fear and anxiety part. I think, when sin came into the world, I just think that's part of our sinful tendency in pregnancy, is to take that mothering instinct of wanting to protect our baby and all that, and to take it too far. It's very tempting to be fearful during pregnancy and after, to be fearful about all the things and to Google search and, go too far with it. And to be anxious, again, anxiety is never okay. And so then that leads us over to even after having the baby, postpartum depression, all those heightened things. I think that's where brain retraining really could come in, has come in useful, and can come in handy. I've talked about this with a couple different brain retraining friends, and this morning I was talking with a friend that gave birth while in the middle of her brain retraining journey, so she had thoughts on it too. It was her second baby. And she was talking about it more from a postpartum perspective, and how it helps so much with the depression side that can come in, because a lot of times that comes in because we're not getting the rest we need. And when you have it set into your schedule, for surezies, you are doing an hour of visualizing a day and you are working on calming your nervous system, that has to help that. I'm not saying, I'm not a doctor, but I'm saying it can't hurt that type of thing. And it can't hurt, I'm not going to trigger anyone here with all the things, but I really think it could help certain things that could come up. High blood pressure, all the things, So I think it is a definite plus to add to your repertoire, or to have in your repertoire while pregnant. And don't be afraid of getting pregnant. I was holding off on getting pregnant. We had our first babies close together, and then I didn't for a long time because I was sick. And then when I heard about brain training and I started wrapping my mind around it, I'm like, I'm not holding off anymore. And that's exactly when we got pregnant. The first time when I first started brain training. So that's how that happened. Praise the Lord. He took that fear away right from the start. He was changing my mindset. And so I am a person that tends towards, for some reason, anxiety in the evenings with pregnancy. I don't know why. And I've had such a tool. It's just trusting God more. Brain training has reminded me to trust God with these things. So that's a beautiful part, is it addresses the fear and anxiety head on. And I think a lot of women deal with that during pregnancy. So yes, it makes pregnancy easier in that way. Yes. Another thing it does that's just wonderful is it makes you slow down. When you're visualizing for an hour a day, I'm saying an hour because that's what I do, and that's what a lot of programs teach, split up throughout the day. It is making you mentally and physically slow down, which is very much what your body needs when you are growing a little baby inside and postpartum. So it is wonderful for a pregnant lady to have that in her schedule, strictly. Have a strict visualizing time. Okay, so then let's talk about Bria in her Abundant Life group, support group. My friend Kim, she's the one that had the baby while brain training. She was talking about Bria has, in her first Abundant Life class, she talks about casting a vision. And so envision what you want for a particular period of your life or whatever. And so my friend Kim said she cast her vision for that postpartum time. And so she said, I for sure am going to get that visualizing time in, which means, have you ever heard of the fourth trimester where your body's healing, you are adjusting to your baby? You need tons and tons of rest those 3 months following having the baby. With that, even if you have small children like I do, they know that mommy has these visualizing times, and we have it worked into our day that they, whatever it is, they have a show time, they have a quiet time, they have an art time, that they don't bother mommy during those times. And so it's a beautiful thing. It's a discipline, and it's a wonderful discipline to have when having small children. Now, something you may want to remember that Kim made me think of was having a baby is basically incremental training in itself, because it just adds, you're up at night, and it adds something to your life that it takes work. Wonderful, but it's work. Learning to nurse and all the things, no matter which baby it is, there's work with a baby. Emotions, all the things. So I would be very careful. This is just my advice, but be very careful. You're already incremental training at that point. So maybe don't keep adding things in, or don't push yourself. This is my biggest thing right here. I said this to my other friend, Mackenzie. That's Brain Retraining. She's pregnant. Give yourself grace and rest while pregnant and with a new baby. Grace and rest here. That's the biggest thing. I don't care if you're brain training or you're not. Don't push yourself, because you're already being pushed. I mean, it's a lot on a mommy, a daddy, a family to introduce a new baby. I would say even the first year, it's a huge adjustment. So just remember that. You don't need extra pushes. That's enough pushes. At least for the first few months. Remember, those first few months, it does take a lot out of you. But with brain training, your mindset is that it can be a wonderful time, and it can be a very restful time if you are focused on slowing down and giving yourself grace and rest in that time, and accepting all the help that's offered and asking for help. It's just part of living. This isn't just for brain trainers, it's just part of having a baby. You've got to learn to slow down. I think the last thing I wanted to mention was around labor itself. I have another friend, Nicole. She lives in Italy at this point, but she was in my first brain retraining support group with Bria. And there's a video on Bria's YouTube page, and I will link it, of Nicole. I haven't watched it in a while, I should watch it, but she talks about how she thought she was basically done brain retraining, I think, when she was ready to have her baby, and she thought, you know what, I'm going to use these techniques, visualizing, to see if I could, I think she even says, have a pain-free labor, or at least greatly reduce the uncomfortableness of labor, actually having the baby. And apparently it worked. So I will definitely link that. Kim says, I wouldn't say I had a pain-free one, but anyway, everyone's different. But I mean, that's pretty cool. I'm not expecting that for myself, but it's pretty cool. I absolutely am planning on having guided visualizations going on in my earbuds while in labor. That is actually a birth method. I can't remember the name of it. I was just reading about it. It has actually nothing to do with brain retraining. It is a birth method out there, visualizing. And it's proven to greatly reduce fear around labor. So pretty cool. I keep coming across people using visualizing in everyday type things, apart from, you know, us that are in the brain retraining world. Like my husband and I were watching this show, I think it's on Prime, of the Blue Angels. It's oh man, you know, I shouldn't have started this because I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the guys that fly jets, and they have to do a really good job. They do the air shows. And so they visualize all the time together. They close their eyes and they visualize, and it helps them get in the right mindset. Anyway, just another way that visualizing is helpful out in the world, even when you're not in a program. Okay, back to pregnancy and labor. I hope this was helpful. I don't think I have amazing thoughts on it, but I just at least wanted to bring up that subject because it's worthwhile thinking about. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.